If I were to lose everything today, no followers, no money, no connections, here's exactly what I would do. My blueprint for creating a profitable startup within just 30 days. No paid ads, no outside investors, just ruthless execution. So if you're new to this YouTube channel, my name is Alex, and I started my first business at 24 years old and grew that business from $0 to an $160 million acquisition in just 3.5 years with no outside investors. So the purpose of this video is to show you how to create an amazing startup from generating a great idea to actually implementing it and becoming profitable without spending a single dollar. So I really hope you enjoy this video. If you have any questions, please comment them below, as well as other video ideas. I love making content on entrepreneurship, starting startups, so let me know what other types of content you want to see as well. So most startup founders spend months, if not years, building something that ultimately nobody wants and is going to pay for. They write a fancy business plan, they raise all this money, and then they spend months building something, and when it comes time to launch, the money doesn't come, the customers don't come. What I recommend for all startup founders is to focus on pain. And I know that sounds crazy to say, pain isn't necessarily a fun word, but ultimately the best startups, the best businesses are solving an important pain point for customers. So you can look around on Discord, Reddit. Also just think about your own life and work experiences. Where are you experiencing pain that you wish you could outsource or pay somebody else to deal with? So for example, in my case, I was a sports bettor. I loved gambling. So I started my career as a quantitative trader on Wall Street, and once sports betting legalized in the US, I would get home and I just wanted to bet on sports. I have the gambling gene. But at the time when sports betting first legalized, there were hundreds of books that had launched in the US, FanDuel, BetMGM, DraftKings, but there was no way to compare their lines, to compare their odds. And that's actually really important because the betting market is extremely fragmented, extremely inefficient, with all sports books setting their own prices. So there was no platform where you could see, okay, which of the sports books that I use is offering the best odds on the Eagles or on the Chiefs. There was no platform to do this, so I was doing this manually. I was manually checking each sports book. I had like 30 sportsbook tabs open, and I was manually checking which sportsbook is offering the best odds. I was manually looking for line discrepancies. So I started to wonder, are there other customers, other data-driven sports bettors who want a solution to this? So I started to check on Reddit. I joined Discord groups for sports betting, and I started to talk to sports bettors, and I noticed this is a real problem. A lot of people, not just me, want a product that essentially points out line discrepancies and allows you to input all your sports books and see which books are offering the best prices, the best odds on the bets you want to place. So ultimately, that was the inspiration for OddsJam, is we wanted to solve the need, the pain point of data-driven sports bettors who had to spend all this manual time searching for line discrepancies in which books were offering the best prices. So that was the genesis for starting my business, OddsJam. So after you identify a good idea or a customer need, you want to build the simplest possible version of your product. This is called a minimum viable product. The truth is, until you actually get dollars coming in, you don't know that you're building something valuable. So your parents may tell you, oh honey, this is a great idea. This is the best startup idea ever. The truth is, until you have money coming in, you don't know that people actually want it. The best way to validate a startup idea is to get people paying for it. And you want to do that as cheap as possible and in as little time as possible, because you don't want to waste a year of your life burning money and burning energy working on solving a problem that nobody actually cares about and is going to pay for. So at OddsJam, we built a very rudimentary product. We only had a few of the main sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. The odds were updating, or the odds were refreshing pretty slowly, like every 10 seconds, which is super slow. Now OddsJam updates odds in less than a second. We started with a very basic product. We just tried to get something out in the hands of customers as quickly as possible. And we saw people start to pay for it. And then we started to ask them, what can we do to improve? What sports book should we add next? You shouldn't just be making these decisions from your gut. Once you have customers, we would just ask them, hey guys, what sports book do you want us to add next? What do you want us to do next? And customers will tell you, the people who you're solving pain for, who want this product the most, they will tell you, here's what you need to do. Here are the books you need to add. Here are the features and the betting tools that you should add to OddsJam, and then more people are gonna pay. So you just want to ruthlessly listen to customers. So we built the initial version of OddsJam very cheaply, less than $25,000 total we put in to launch the product and get our first group of paying customers. And then we just talked to them ruthlessly every single day. What do you guys want to see us do? What features do you want us to add? What sports books do you want us to add next? We talk to our customers every single day. And again, customers are the best indication for what you should build next and if you're on the right track. So a lot of startup founders, when I give them this advice, if they reach out for advice after the success of OddsJam, they'll tell me like, hey, but I need a lot of money to build my minimum viable product. I need to go raise money. No. That is completely incorrect. You need to get more scrappy. You don't need to build the perfect product when you first launch. That is actually the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be getting something cheap and quick out the door and talking to customers. So I'll give you a simple example. Is one of the biggest successes in Silicon Valley is a company called Zappos. Okay, it's an online shoe store essentially. And when the founder decided to launch Zappos, you may be thinking, oh, he had to build an entire shoe distribution network. Nope, that's not what he did. He was super scrappy. Literally what he did to validate that he was on the right track with his startup idea is he would go to local shoe stores like a Foot Locker. He would take pictures of the shoes, upload them to his website, and then if the shoes actually sold, he would go back to the shoe store, buy the shoes, and ship them to the customer. An extremely scrappy way to validate his idea that people want to buy shoes online. You need to get more scrappy. You need to try to validate your idea that you're even building a product that people actually want and will pay for and use. You need to do that in the cheapest possible way and in the least amount of time. So if you think you need hundreds of thousands of dollars and a ton of capital, you're thinking about it incorrectly. So you've identified a customer pain point, your startup idea. You've built the minimum viable product in as cheap of a way as possible. Now it's time to start getting sales. It's time to start making money. So how do you do that? And a lot of startup founders will tell me, oh, my business plan is just pump a ton of money into paid ads. It's like some magic button, they think, and my business is just gonna explode. I'm gonna grow like crazy. That is not true. If you cannot get customers organically through word of mouth, through social media, then you almost certainly will not be able to grow your business through paid ads. And obviously there's a lot of businesses that end up growing through paid advertising, and it can definitely be a lever in your business, but you should start out with organic marketing. It is literally free. You've built your minimum viable product that probably required a little bit of capital. It's time to get your money back and it's time to start making money. So how can you get customers organically? The first way is this thing, your phone. Anybody can be an influencer nowadays. You can record TikToks from your iPhone. You can record Instagram Reels. These are hyper viral platforms. My first YouTube video, I filmed on my iPhone and I edited it with my mom for free. It required $0, and at this point, it has over 1.3 million views. Long story short, you should start creating content for your business. As the founder of a startup, you understand what you're doing, why it's valuable, better than anybody else. So founder-led businesses where the founder is creating content are extremely effective. It requires just a couple minutes of time to record a little TikTok of your video, explain why your product is awesome, add relevant hashtags. So in the case of OddsJam, hashtag sports betting, hashtag NFL bets. If your product is actually cool and valuable, you'll start getting traction. So I recommend to every founder that I work with, try to create 2 TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts every single day. Every TikTok you make, you can duplicate the work. You can upload it to Instagram Reels, upload it to YouTube Shorts. And again, if no customers come from you creating content on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, then it probably means your product sucks and will never get customers anyways, because clearly your product isn't interesting enough for anybody to try, or you're not good enough as the founder at explaining the value props of your product to entice people to sign up. If you can't entice people with organic marketing to sign up for your product, you almost certainly won't be able to with paid advertising. My second recommendation is go where your customers live. Talk to people on Reddit. So in the case of me, our initial customers for OddsJam, I typed in, why can't I compare sportsbook odds side by side? And then I would just DM those people and I would comment on Reddit, hey, there's a new site called OddsJam I started. It's super awesome. Here's what it does. And again, I would just explain why our product was really cool. I was doing content. I was also engaging with communities on Discord, Reddit, people who were interested in data-driven sports betting, and I just told them, here's what we're doing, here's what we're trying out, we have a free trial, maybe consider giving it a try. And ultimately, that's how we got our initial customers at OddsJam. You need to get scrappy. The best way to get your initial users, create content and go where your customers live. Whatever Discord groups they're in, whatever Slack groups, Reddit threads they're in, you should be commenting, you should be engaging, explaining what you're building and why it's so awesome. And again, it's a hard truth to hear, but if you can't get customers organically by engaging with communities and creating content, then almost certainly money is not going to solve your problem. Raising money, paid ads are not going to solve your problem. You need to validate that, hey, I have the messaging down. I understand how to explain the value props of my startup well enough to entice people to engage organically before you even ever consider paid advertising. So there are other things you can do at your startup to get customers literally for free. For example, you can add an affiliate program, a referral program. We did that at OddsJam. So you turn your power users, your most passionate customers, into your best marketers. You tell them, hey, every person you get to sign up, we'll give you $50 and just let them go crazy. They'll go on TikTok, they'll go on Twitter themselves, and they'll explain, because they're power users of your product, why your startup is so amazing. They'll be your best marketing team. So I highly recommend starting a referral program, an affiliate program at your business. It literally costs $0 to spin up, right? There's tons of companies that you can use for affiliate advertising and starting a referral program. It's super easy to do. And again, what's amazing about it is you never pay people out unless they make you money. So if your product is, let's say, $100, you can tell your affiliates, hey, we'll give you 50%. You sign somebody up, we'll give you half of the profit. If it's software, basically the full $100 is going to be profit. So that's just a simple example. So basically, we went through a few things in this video. How do you build a profitable startup in 30 days? The first thing is you need to find pain. You need to identify a customer pain point that you can solve. What is a real problem that people would pay for if they could solve it? The second thing you need to do is build a minimum viable product. You need to build the cheapest version of the product possible so you can start talking to customers and getting feedback from the market. Everyone can tell you your startup idea is awesome, it's cool. Until you have customers paying, your startup idea is worthless. My third recommendation is sell organically. Start creating content. It's literally free to do. It just requires your time and for you to not be lazy and put your face on the internet, and you can start selling your product. You understand as the founder why your startup is so cool, why you're solving an interesting problem. So you are the best marketer for your product, which sounds crazy to say. Before I started my business, I'd never done a YouTube video. I'd never done an Instagram reel. I'd never done a TikTok, right? Now I've done all of them over and over and over again because, again, founder-led brands are extremely impactful. And you should also just go to communities, Discord groups, Slack groups, where your customers live, and just try to engage with them. From there, you can iterate, right? Customers will tell you, hey, here's what we want to see you build. You can always expand into adjacent industries. So in the case of OddsJam, we expanded from sports betting to fantasy sports. So there's always ways to grow your TAM, but you need to start with a group of customers who will, again, they'll tell you what to build. You just have to listen to them. Our customers at OddsJam told us, hey, you need this sports book. Hey, you need to have faster odds for this book. If you just are listening to your customers, they will ultimately tell you what makes your product better and how you can build a better company. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment any questions. Let me know other video ideas as well. I love making content on entrepreneurship and on starting companies. So thank you guys so much for your time and have a great rest of your day.